And there is plenty of gilding on all the various picture frames around me. I think I could live comfortably on the proceeds of just one of these paintings. Now, as you briefly saw, the Frick's recently undergone a massive renovation, the first since it opened 90 years ago. Modernising such a storied treasure was certainly not taken lightly. It was a big undertaking and lots of people were involved. The museum's director assured me that the redesign has the balance between the original beauty with bringing the collection and the building and the gardens firmly into the 21st century.
On the one hand, it is dramatic, and on the other hand, it is also meant to appear as if nothing much has changed, because the Frick is, of course, one of the most beloved museums that there is, not only in New York, almost globally. Yet at the same time, also all sorts of facilities needed to be added to really make it a museum of the 21st century, and also to expand the space.
You've been given an institution that is beautiful and much loved in this city, which of course, having come from the Academy in London, you know that you're never going to please everyone. And changes that you make, you will be excoriated, you will be pilloried, you will be praised. How do you live with that?
Well, it is part of the, of that excitement. And museums, while they are conservative with a small c, because of course they preserve, we conserve things. But at the same time, they are, living organizations, and they need to move with the times and adapt to changes in your environments, in your settings, understanding how audience tastes change, and they have certainly audience behaviors dramatically shifted over since COVID. And
in what way?
To work with that, well, that audiences have become, in some ways, we experienced that in London as well, on some level a little bit more risk averse, more conscious of, also everything is expensive, also going to museums has become more expensive, so they become more selective. Many people who have to travel into cities to go to museums travel into cities a lot less. We kept joking that lots of people, have befriended their neighbors over COVID and play bridge with them in wheelchairs. So, they're not coming into London as much. That to some degree is true here as well. So it is kind of to understand, and then also the next generation. And we are also in a changing landscape where, for example, we have all these sort of immersive experiences now around us, and digital, the sort of seduction of digitally generated settings and so forth. And how do we relate with something like this? And in a way, the Frick is, of course, a total immersive experience, because it is not white walls with works of art on the wall. It is the whole concert of this incredibly quality collection in this purpose-built setting, a historic house with the furniture and everything else.
Mr. Frick, what sort of person was he, besides a brutal businessman?
Well, a brutal, fierce businessman indeed, very determined, but clearly also with a very, very keen sense of art, of looking. He developed his eye, and he also greatly appreciated talking about art. He traveled in order to see art. So I think those were the sort of two aspects of his character.
Right, so there were many portraits upon which the dollar bill was based, but this was one of the early ones, apparently.
Well, the composition, this is the only American painting in the collection, actually, Gilbert Stuart's portrait of George Washington, and there is a very considerable series of these portraits, whereas usually he wears a black coat, whereas in this one, and this is one of the earliest of that series, he wears a red coat, and the motif, yes, became then the basis for the dollar bill portrait.
Difficult to imagine them living here, isn't it?
He wanted it to appear somewhat modest, and it is a little more low-slung than many of the other buildings were. And we have the glorious front garden, which looks out towards Central Park, which none of the other mansions had. So, it's a sort of, if you like, almost quiet luxury that he permitted himself.
On the day when you leave this job and you retire in great glory, and they say to you, Axel, you can have one painting.
Yeah.
You can have one painting which you can put on the shelf at home, even if for 6 months. Which one would you take with you? Which is your favorite?
Well, let's put it this way. The work that I always gravitated to when I came to visit the Frick over the many years that I've been coming to New York and always came to the Frick is Holbein's portrait of Thomas More. It is such a sensational portrait. One artist once said about that glowing red velvet sleeve that Holbein painted, that sleeve should be illegal. And just also he captures also that rather complex and interesting character of Thomas More, I think, in the picture extremely well. So that is the one picture that I've always gone to.
A word with the chair. Good to see you.